If Vex'ahlia is the steady arrow that never misses, her twin brother Vax'ildan is the shadow that dances on the edge of darkness. The half-elf rogue, with his nimble fingers, quick reflexes, and signature dagger whisper, moves through the world with a grace that belies his inner turmoil. He is a man of contradictions, charming yet distant, reckless yet loyal, haunted yet hopeful. Vax's journey is one of self-discovery, as he grapples with his identity, his purpose, and the inevitable pull of death. To understand him, we must follow him from the streets of Byroden to the halls of the Matron of Ravens, tracing the steps that led him from a lost boy seeking belonging to a champion who embraced his fate. Vax's early life was defined by duality. As a twin, he shared Vex's pain of abandonment, but he processed it in a vastly different way. Where Vex responded to rejection with anger and a drive to prove herself, Vax retreated into charm and humor, using his wit to deflect attention from his inner pain. Laughing is easier than crying, he once told Scanlan after a particularly brutal battle, and it keeps people from asking too many questions. He became a rogue not just for the thrill of the heist, but because it allowed him to disappear, to blend into the shadows and avoid the vulnerability of being seen. His skills as a pickpocket and lockpicker were honed on the streets, where survival depended on being quick, clever, and untrusting. Vax learned early on that the world was a cruel place, and the only way to protect himself was to never get too attached to anyone or anything. Yet despite his best efforts, Vax craved connection. He loved Vex fiercely, and their bond was the one constant in his life. He would follow her anywhere, even into the jaws of death, and he often put her safety above his own. But his loyalty to his sister sometimes manifested as recklessness, as he took unnecessary risks to prove his love and devotion. When Vex was injured during a battle with a band of orcs, Vax charged into the fray alone, cutting down enemies left and right without regard for his own safety. "Don't you ever do that again?" Vex scolded him afterward, as she bandaged his wounds. "You're not invincible." Vax just smiled, a hint of sadness in his eyes. "I am when it comes to you," he said. This willingness to sacrifice himself for others would become a defining trait, one that would eventually lead him to his fate as the champion of the Matron of Ravens. Vax's journey took a pivotal turn when he encountered the Matron of Ravens, the goddess of death. Their first meeting was not by choice. Vax was killed during a battle with a dragon, and he found himself face to face with the goddess in the afterlife. Instead of welcoming him into the void, she offered him a second chance at life on her terms. "You are not ready to die," she told him, her voice cold and distant, "but you will be. And when that time comes, you will serve me." Vax accepted her offer not out of fear, but out of a sense of purpose. For the first time in his life, he felt like he belonged to something greater than himself. "I've spent my whole life running from death," he told the group after his resurrection. "But maybe it's time I stopped running. Maybe it's time I embraced it." This encounter with the Matron of Ravens changed Vax in profound ways. He became more serious, more focused, and more willing to confront the darkness within himself. He no longer saw death as an enemy to be feared, but as a natural part of life, a force that gave meaning to every moment. His relationship with Keyleth, the Ashari druid, deepened during this time as she helped him come to terms with his newfound purpose. Keyleth, who struggled with her own fears of inadequacy and destiny, understood Vax's inner turmoil. Their love was a source of light in the darkness, a reminder that even in the face of death, there is joy to be found. When Vax told Keyleth he loved her, he didn't promise her forever, he promised her now. "We don't have time for maybes," he said, taking her in his arms. "All we have is this moment, and I want to spend it with you." Vax's greatest test came during the battle against Vecna, the lich who sought to become a god. When Vecna threatened to destroy Exandria, Vax knew that his time had come. He made a deal with the Matron of Ravens, agreeing to become her permanent champion in exchange for the power to stop Vecna. "I'm ready," he told her as he stood before her throne in the afterlife. "I'm ready to serve." The Matron accepted his offer, and Vax returned to the mortal plane, wielding the power of death itself. In the final battle, Vax sacrificed himself to seal Vecna away, his body dissolving into shadow as he fulfilled his destiny. As he faded away, he looked at Keyleth, his eyes filled with love and peace. "I'll be watching over you," he said. "Always." Vax's death was not a tragedy, it was a fulfillment. He had spent his whole life searching for purpose, and he found it in service to the Matron of Ravens. He had learned to embrace his fears, to love deeply, and to accept his fate with grace. In the end, Vax'ildan was not just a rogue or a champion. He was a man who had found his true self. His story teaches us that death is not the end, but a part of the journey. It reminds us that we should cherish every moment, love fiercely, and embrace our destiny, no matter how scary it may be. What makes Vax such a beloved character is his humanity. He was flawed, broken, and haunted, but he never stopped trying to be better. He laughed in the face of danger, cried when he was hurt, and loved with every fiber of his being. He was a rogue with a heart of gold, a shadow that brought light to those around him. As the legend of Vox Machina lives on, Vax'ildan remains a symbol of courage, loyalty, and acceptance. He showed us that even the darkest souls can find redemption, and that the greatest sacrifice is often the most loving act of all.